Hi guys, Crafty Crystal here. What we have today is a Scoodie. It is a hat, a hood, with a cap, and attached scarf. The way I make Scoodies is the scarf is part of the hat. See? The scarf comes up, crosses over and back, goes around the rim, comes over here, crosses over, and comes down the other side. All one piece. So if you can make a circle, and you can make a scarf, you can make a Scoodie. It's that easy. Now I make my scarf part 6 feet long because it's almost 2 feet around the head part. I like it to come down on the ears because I make these for warm weather, cold weather. So from here across the top down to the other side is about 18 inches. So this is 6 inches, this is 6 inches, this is 6 inches, 18 inches. Okay? So to start out with, we'll do the crown part. And if you want to, you can make this 7 inches and make these 5 inches or 5.5 inches. You can make them longer so it sticks out like a hood out here like this. Anything your little heart desires. This is your project. I'm just getting you started on it, okay? So let's get started. We're going to do the round part, and then we're going to make the scarf, and then we're going to connect them. Okay? Here we go. So let's see if we can make it happen. Let's start with a magic circle. I like double magic circles for a very simple reason. I always screw up my single magic circles. That's me. I split my thread. I hate it when that happens. Okay. Around 2. Under, over, down, twist, and grab it. There we go. And in doubles, you always make sure your lead thread is out this way and your end is out this way, because you're going to make your stitches over these 2 rounds and your tail. So I'm going to chain 2, and that's going to be my first half double, second half double, 3, 4, 5, 6, whoops, 7, 8, 'Get in there. 9, 10. Now I pull on my tail and see how this one got smaller? See how that one gets smaller? Right there? Right where the tail comes out, I pull that one. And the other one pulls in and disappears. And I pull my tail. Then I double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this one's 10 right there. And that's where I go in and do my slip stitch. Okay. Now this is why I like to double magic circle. Ten going around once, 10 going around twice, 10 going around 3 times. Cut it off and forget about it. Okay. I'm going to chain 2. This first one's a little tricky. I'm going to go through both of them again. Whoop, wrap first. this is going to be my front one, this is going to be my back one. So on every one of these, I'm going to do the back first, and then the front. And on the front, I'm coming, you can come down this way every time, or you can go up that other way every time. It doesn't matter. Pick one and stick with it. Back one, and front one. See what they're doing? This is going to be your back one. This first one's picky. Back one, top one, back one, top one, back one, top one. See that? Now if you want smaller holes in the back, if this was thinner thread like the multi I'm using, I would definitely want to do it this way. So first one I'll do the same. I want it to come out in front. Okay, but on the back I would come down and I would go into the thread behind it. See there? You have a thread right behind it. That really closes up the back, and you end up with no holes in your center. I like that. I like no holes in the center. So I wrap, I go through the back loop plus the loop behind it. And I go down the front one. With the thicker yarn, I don't have to worry about the holes so much, but that is how I do it for all thinner yarns. And now on the last one, see where this comes across here? This is where your first two came out of. This is your chain up here, and this is the one we want to force to the front. Okay? So it makes sense that the last one would be a front one. You can check it out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So you want to slip stitch this to the back one, which was our chain up. Okay. Round 2. Now round 3 is front post and then increase 2 in the half double. So I want to well, I'm going to alter that a little bit because I'm in the down spot. So this is where I want to do my increase. I'll just go in that same one and do another half double. Then the top, the one that's sticking up, we do a front post. Then in the back one here, we're going to do 2 half doubles. And the front one here, we're going to do a front post. We're going to do a double front post, not a half double. Sticks up better when you do a double instead of a half double. Keep splitting my thread. I don't think this thread likes me. Okay. Then here's the back, the behind one. We'll do 2 half doubles in it and a front post. double front post. I'll do my last double front post. And we have this stitch that goes over the front post, this stitch that goes over this half double, so the one behind it has to be the one we slip stitch into. Backing up really helps a lot. Okay, now we have 30 stitches, and that's our round 3. For our 4th row, we're going to spike down between the 2 middle ones, these 2 here. So I'm going to start this with a half double for this stitch. So I'm going to chain 2. Kitten, really? Are we going to do this? Okay. Then we're going to spike down to the base of these 2. Pull it up. Finish the half double. And we're going to do a half double in the next stitch. I'm going to do it in the back of the next stitch. The half doubles are all going to be done in the back, and it'll match the look of this first one because it'll have the bar in front of it. Then we're going to go down in here in our front post, and we're going to do a double front post. Then we have our 2 stitches again. Do a half double in the back, and I'd use the back loop also. I'm going to wrap, and we're going to go down between these 2 where they doubled, pull up a spike. Now, I'm not going to make it a double, I'm going to make a half double spike. Wrap, go down, pull up the loop, wrap, and go through all 3. Then wrap, go into the back of the next stitch and the thread behind it. And do a half double. So for each set we have 1, 2, 'spike, that's 3, back of the next one, 4. So there's our 4 for each section for row 4. And you go ahead and do that around, and I'll meet you back here. So we got a double front post, a half double in the first stitch, a spike going down to where both those stitches were born, a half double in the back of the next stitch, oh kitten, and then back to our front post. I'm doing this around my cat. Okay, I'll see you guys at the next row. Okay, now remember we started with the first of the 2 on the first of the 2 stitches between the front posts. So our last stitch is going to be our front post. And it's a double stitch. Now, here's our next front post, and this stitch belongs to that front post. This belongs to the first half double. This belongs to the spike. So the one right in front of it belongs to the first stitch we started. There we go. And this is what it should look like now. Got your spike, pretty long spike. You got your 2 half doubles, and you got your front post. Now the next row is going to throw this off balance, and the last row will bring it back in balance. What we're going to do is we're going to start, well, we've got to start here, but on this row we're going to put a half double in front of each, in this stitch that belongs to each of these posts. See, this is the stitch that belongs to the front post. So we're going to put a half double in the back of it and then go to the same post. That will be our increase for this row. Okay? So let's chain 2. That's for this stitch. That's 1 stitch. We're going to start number 5. And we're going to do a front post around our spike one. So we're slipping back of our spike. So come back up in front of it. And there's our front post in front of our spike. Come down into this post here. Back 2 stitches. Do our half double. Now on the 5th one, we're going to be putting it off balance on one way by putting an extra stitch in here, and then in the 6th one we're going to come back and rebalance it. So right now we have half double, front post, half double, and in this stitch here we're going to do a half double in the back. 2 stitches. Come on, where are you? Don't be funny. There we go. Do a half double there. Then we'll do a front post and the front post. So this stitch is actually doing 2 stitches. This is our increase. Keep wanting to do a half post. It's supposed to be a full, a half. It's early morning, guys. I haven't had my coffee yet. Okay. Double crochet, front post. Then we do our half post in back of our next stitch. We're going to do a front post under the spike stitch. We're going to do half double in the next stitch. Then we're back to our main front post. Our main front post is always the one that started from the inside, our original 10. Okay. After we've done the back of the front post stitch, then we do our front post. And back to our half post, our half double crochet and a half double crochet. A front post in the spike. A half double crochet in the back of the half double crochet. And we're back to our main line front post. So we go in the back 2 threads. Are you trying to be funny? There we go. Come on. At least let me have my coffee before you start giving me trouble. The last 2 stitches, half double crochet. Then the same stitch, we come and do our front post. Okay. I'm not doing too bad for half asleep. There we go. Okay, now For row 6, just like we increased off of this one, we're going to increase off these middle ones, because now we need 2 stitches in between these two, like we have 2 stitches between these two. So we're going to go in back of our middle front post, and then we're going to do our front post. That gives us 2 stitches for 1 stitch, and that's our increase. Okie dokie. Go 1 half double, 2 half doubles, post stitch, 1 half double, and we're going to go behind this. We're going to go through like this, 2 half doubles, and then we're going to do our post stitch on top of it, and that gives us our increase. Then 1 half double, 2 half doubles, and our post stitch. One half double, both of them, 2 half doubles, and post stitch. There's a half, there's a half, and a post. Okay, you got it? Now we end up with 2 in between every post. Okay? Now you go ahead and go around and finish this last circle, and I'll meet you over here. Okay, last of the 6. Go through the back 2 loops of our half double. The last 2 loops of this half double. This is our long one. All we do is a full front post, and then we go into our top of our chain 3 and close it off. There we go. Okay, now the next thing we'll do is I will fold this in, and then we will add our it'll be ready to put our scarf on. Alright guys, please forgive me for doing it this way, but my scarf part of my Scoodie is almost done. And the reason why I did this is because this edge here is going to end up being this edge here. So I can show you the last part of it. This part here I'm going to finish. This whole thing is seed stitch, and this is plain double crochet. So it's not like I had to go through all the frogging and doing back and changing the design and everything that I did before. I'm happy with this, and this is where I'm going to stick with it. So I want to show you, I'm going to finish off this section here. I did chain as long as I wanted it. For the Scoodie I wanted it 6 feet, because almost 2 feet of that goes on the head as part of the hat. So it's actually a 4-foot scarf connected to a hat. So this is my chain. On top of the chain I did a row of half double crochets all the way down. And then I'll show you this one. I'll show you the one I did on top of it. And then I went into the seed stitch, a row of double crochets, plain and simple, straight across, one in each stitch. And then I came back to do the seed stitch. So I have the edge, 4 rows of seed, 1 row of double crochet, and the seed stitch. Now if you don't know how to do a double crochet, okay, where'd I hide my hook? Just a minute, I hid my hook. There's my hook. Okay. Now, to make this, I'm using an H hook, and I'm using Red Heart Super Saver. Okay, this is called macaw. It's a 5-ounce variegated. I've already used one full one, and I'll be using part of this one to finish this off. So figure probably about 7.5, 8 ounces of yarn. These are 200 and, where are you? On here somewhere. I think it's 250 something feet, yards, just a minute. 236 yards. 215 meters. So you're probably going to need 350 yards to make this. Okay. Now, the seed stitch, the way I'm doing it here is you do a single crochet in the back of your double crochet. So I go to the back of the stitch and I do a tight single crochet. The next stitch is the one right between the two doubles, the single crochet, and I wrap, go through, bring up loosely, wrap, go through 2, bring it up loosely, and go through. So I've got a nice tall stitch here next to my short single crochet. In the back of the next double, I do a tight single crochet. Now there's all kinds of ways to do this. You can do it through the stitches all the way along, and you'll have something like this. I wanted something higher textured. This is just going through all the loops all the way. It's a regular seed stitch. This is a lot more higher, more textured, and that's because I'm going behind the double crochets and it makes them stick out on one side. On the other side, those stick out when I do the single crochet in back of them. So go through the stitch between the two double crochets, do a very loose double crochet, then you go in the back loop only, the double crochet, and you do a tight single. This over accentuates the difference between the double and the single. You can do them all the same, and you'll still get a little differentiation from going in back of the double. Okay. Now I always end a row. I always do a even number of stitches, and the last one is always going to be your double crochet. You start every row with a single. Your last one is going to be a double crochet, and of course, what do you put? Excuse me. What's these? On top of every double, you put a single. So you chain 1 and turn. Now if I come back this way with the seed, since I started with 1, I would be a double here, single in back of that, double here, single in back of that, just like I showed you. But right now is my intention to go into this row, the one right next to the big one. That's my other border of my seed stitch. So for this one, you have your chain 1 and turn. So this is your single crochet. You're going to go back into this stitch, pull up a loop, go into the next one, pull up a loop, come through both. Go back into the same stitch, pull up a loop, go into the next one, both stitches, pull up a loop, go through 2. Same stitch, same hole, next hole, pull up a loop. Same hole, next hole, pull up a loop. Get a nice tight, hold it all together stitch that gives you a lovely frame to your seed stitch. Okay, so real simple all the way down. Now on the back, you're going to get this little bar between them that you don't see very much on the variegated. It would be very visible if you change color. And even if you do different colors, it has a nice look to it. So that's this one. I'm going to do this across. Same hole, next hole, pull through all 3. Same hole, pull up a loop, next hole, pull up a loop, yarn over and through all 3. And you want these kind of tight. You don't want these real loose. This is like your keeper row. Keeps everything in order. And as you can see, it can go quite fast because your loops are your holes are pretty big. They aren't tight because you did the seed stitch, and that tends to stretch them out. And that's why this is a holder. See how far at even your stitches are? Look at the difference. See here? It's going to organize all of these into a nice, neat, all the same size stitch. Okay, now I'll be back when I'm ready to do the second to the last row. Okay? Now you end this and begin the next the same way you did, we would have done back here when we came off of the half double. Okay, now this is my last stitch, but this is actually my last stitch. So I'm going to go down in here and down in here, and I'm actually going to make this a double because I want it to pull over from here, because we aren't doing this stitch here and then having to do another on the side, which we would if we did it a single. This straightens out the side long enough that we have a square edge. So when you finish this one, you do your first loop in. Let me do that again. You're at your last stitch and your end stitch. Hey, you can't do that. Okay, so you go in here just like you normally would. Okay, and you go down into your next stitch, and instead of just pulling a loop through both, you pull through 2 and 2, and that gives you your straight edge. Okay, now to go into this one, we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and turn. Okay, now I'm going to switch to the next highest goodie. This is an I. I want these a little longer and a little looser, because this is a nice feature of this. Okay, same difference. Wrap, go in, pull up a loop. Hold these with your finger. Wrap and go in. Hold here, pull through all loops. Wrap, go in here, pull up. You got a nice high stitch. Hold on to your tension. Go down and get your little loops here. pull through all 5. Now this will give you higher, and your edge will be controlled with your next step. So don't worry about your edge getting too loose. You come up high, hold this, go into the same stitch, bring it up high, hold this, wrap, got your tension clock down now, and go through all 5. Wrap, nice and high, okay, hold down your tension, wrap, go into the little one, so you got your 2 small loops, go through all 5. And when you come back with your next one, you're going to hold these nice and high. Wrap, nice and high, hold it, chalk down your tension. Whoop, I did not wrap, did I? Hold these nice and high, wrap, and go into your loop. So these 2 are both short and close together. Bring it through all of them. Nice and high, hold it, bring it up, hold it, clock down your tension, wrap, go through the hole, bring it through a loop, bring it through all 5. Whoop. This is how you get a gathered stitch like that without this huge mega thing sticking out the back. See how pretty that looks? Lovely stitch. Looks nice on both sides. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and go through this to the end, and then I'm going to come back, and because a half double coming off of this will be higher, and I want it to look low like this side, I'm going to use a single instead of a half double to finish this off. It started with a half double, and these lines here were done in between each stitch, so they came down and make the stitches look shorter. It was not done in the top of the stitches, but between every stitch, and that brings it down nice and close to the edge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and we'll come back with a single. So you pull your loop up to the top of your regular size loop here, hold it, come down through and pick up a loop, bring it up to the same height, hold it. You got slight tension on here because you don't want this to bug out like that. So you want enough tension that you don't end up with a bug out over here. That'll give you a big loop on the front or back or both. Okay? Then you clamp down on your security, and that's when you do your 2 low loops. Hold and pull through all. So you bring it up, very light tension. Bring one up, very light tension. Then you clamp down, go through these 2 guys, and then pull up. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. For the last one, it's loose enough it comes out with a pretty straight line. If for some reason you think it's over this way, like you did these loops shorter, you can always go back and go right into the edge and do a regular double or half double, however you want to do it. I would suggest a double because we want this to stretch out kind of. So I'll do a tighter double. That should give it just the right height I need. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my other hook, my H hook, chain 1, and turn. Now this is the one that I want to look like this. This was a half double, and I went down between the rows so that it made it look shorter like a single crochet. So that's what I'm going to do. So So I go in the same stitch, and I'm doing reasonably tight. I want these to be the same size as these. Okay? I don't want them to be the size of these. See how big these are? You want them to be the same size. Okay? Alrighty. So we're back on the H hook, and we're just going to do some singles. Nice firm grip on the yarn. It's going to pull in this thicker, longer loops. Make it puffier, and it'll allow it to elongate also. Let's see. See, these are the same height now, and the edges are the same size. That's what you're looking for. Same size loops and same height. The look of the same height. Taking all these long loops and turning them into short loops. Okay, I reached the end, and because I'm going to be using this darker color for my border, I want to do a row of this color along the end. It'll make it look much more even when I add the other color on. It kind of helps hide the unevenness of going back and forth along this. So I'm going to chain one on the corner and go back into the same stitch I did my last single crochet on. This is supposed to be a double. I'm going to go in here twice. So as we start off the row with a single crochet, then we do the double. So we need 2 for the next row. In the middle. Thank you. 1, 2. Always make sure you have at least 2 threads, but not all 3. 1 for the end. That's where the single crochet is. 2 for where the double is. Oh, I want to show you a useful trick while I'm on this. If you reach a spot, which I don't see that I have any on here, where it's too tight to put your crochet hook through, get yourself a big knitting needle like this, okay? You put it through from the side you're going to be putting your hook through. Stick your thread through so you have a hoop like that. Pull the loop through. No problem. Bring this one down. There you have it. Okay. 1 for the end. And 1 in the very end. I think I'm going to need my trick for this one. I think I'm going to need my trick. And I'm going to have to do it this way because I don't think I can get the thick part through it. There. So if I went through this way, I'd be going through the same way the hook does to pull up a loop. But it's so tight, I came in from the point side. Still in the same direction. You got your eye and back where you're going to be grabbing your loop to pull up. Okay, got that. Got that. And I got that. All together now. There we go. Okay. So, now I'm going to do the other end. There's my little scissors. Oop. Now I considered starting here and then going around my edging that way. But if I did that, I'd still have to cut it here and start it here. And that didn't make any sense. I figured, okay, I'll just go around the two corners and then come back and do the other end. Ah, drat. Put my needle away. Yep, it did. Okay. How do I make those knot corners tight? Come here, you. There we go. I'm doing it right-handed, and that's not easy for me. Okay. I'll go ahead and pull this through. Just for the hell of it. Just for the hell of it. There we go. One crochet in the end here. Uh-oh, split my yarn. There we go. I want two in here. Okay. One in the end of the single where it started. One for the single. Basically 1, 2, 1, 2. I gather up on that, spray out on that. Well, looks pretty even. You want to do any adjusting necessary before you tie off? This part is down a little bit, so I'm going to put my last one here. Nope, 2 strands. And then I want to tie off to the first one. There. Kind of like squaring the corner. Okay. Okay, now, for hiding my ends, I'm going to go back to my pointy one. Okay. Now you want this down inside every place you went over. so it covers it. You see no silver on this side, no silver on this side. It means your color is covered. I'm going to go down 4 or 5 stitches. I made a goof here. I went through one of my standing loops. Can't have that. Okay. So I have to put it on again. Come on, guys, all together. There we go. Okay, now I go 1 thread farther than I came out. See where I came out here? I'm going to go 1 thread farther. I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to go around like this, walking around as I go in. And the reason for that is this is going to pierce and snag the thread that I went in on. Went the other way on. Pull it, even it out, make sure it's not bunched anywhere. Okay. Then you cut it. Now, if you just go through and come back, like with a blunt edge needle, every time this stretches, it can pull on that. And if you, every time it gets stretched out, it'll pull the end back in. And eventually you'll have ends sticking out here or here somewhere. When you do it this way, this is caught so it cannot pull past any stitch it's on because it's got this catching in there. And this end won't pull out unless this end stretches. So if this can't stretch, this end won't pull out. So simple. Okay, my little helper is back. Oh, wait a minute, here's the end. Okay. I took a test swatch that I had for another project and tried a couple different edgings on it, and I'm going to go simple. Really simple. I put the ends of my scarf together, and I'm in the center of the back on the part that's going out, facing outwards on the hat. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing I did on the crisscross with the single crochet. Like you're decreasing, but you're doing it in the same stitch, so it's not a decrease. The difference is I'm going to make this higher and looser. So I'll go back in the same stitch that I tied on in, bring it up, go in the next loop, bring it up, go through both. It's higher and looser, up, up, through both. See how short and tight this was? How high and loose that is? Big difference. Also, this thread, even though both say for number 4 worsted, the variegated is a thinner yarn than this one. I'm not even sure what brand this is. I've had it for quite a while. I think it was a Canon. I think it was a Canon 1-pounder. So, pull up, go down, pull up, go around. Now the back's going to give me this little dot along the back, but I don't mind that. If you don't like it, then turn it into a small gather stitch. Go down, come up, wrap, go down, come up, get off my thread, and then go through both. You end up with a small gather stitch, a short one of these, and you don't have the bar across the back. Okay, I don't mind the bar. I just want the lower edge. So, in, up, through both. In, up. It's just a loose decrease single crochet. Okay, I'm coming around the back side of my scarf here. This edge that I'm doing here is the part that'll be on the bottom part of the hat in front. What I did was, to start with, is I just approximated the center because I was doing the bottom back, and then I measured it exactly for the opposite side because that's going to be center front on top of the hat. And I counted around. See, here's the center front of the hat where the cap is going to be. I counted 30 stitches this way and marked it, and 30 stitches this way and marked it, and where the rim is going to be I went down to plain single crochet for those 60 stitches, and then I went back to the stitch I'm doing here. On the bottom, just like I told you, I did this stitch on the bottom edges. Make it a little bit thicker, a little bit longer, not much, but enough to make it fancier. Okay, and here's the other end. The front and the back. The back looks a little different, but it doesn't look bad either, does it? There we go. So, once I get this wrapped up, I'm going to start adding the hat crown to it, or adding it to the hat crown, I should say. And I'll be back then, okay? Alright, I did some of the work before I brought you in, because it can be a little fiddly and you didn't need to watch me do it. I took the point where the crown is knotted, went across, found my center point. Here's my center marker, and I began matching up stitches around in a very loose fashion. Mainly I wanted to make sure I'm not going to louse up on the count. And then from the center back this way. When I got to my knot, I started to put my outside on my inside. Now what I did here is, this is the outside of my cap. This is what I want for the outside of my headband, of my hat, okay? So I got this outside facing the outside, and then I just went around and basted it. Okay. And then I did 3 stitches to make sure it's going to look good on the other side. So that's all I've done, is 3 stitches. I'll show you how it looks. I'm happy with it, so that's how I'm going to keep it. See here? See how that looks? That's how it looks on the outside. Excellent match. Okay. Now, okay. We take the next stitch and the thread behind it, and we cross over to the loop across from it, and the thread behind it, we pull it through, and we put this through the loop. Tug it tight. Make sure it's not binding up in any way and that all the loops look the same. I like them to all look the same. This makes it better for me. Take the next loop, unused loop, that's this one, go behind it and through. Take the next one across from it, go through it and behind. Go through the loop. Tug it tight. Make sure it's not binding. Make sure the loops look the same. Okay. Pick the next stitch, go from behind and the back of the loop. Remember to leave your loop over here. Go across, stitch across from it and the loop behind it. Go through the loop, pull it snug, pull it snug. Make sure nothing's binding or bunching or looking odd. Find the next open loop that hasn't been used. That's this one. Go behind and the back loop. Come across to the corresponding loop. Go to the back of that loop and the thread behind it. Make sure you leave the loop over here. Okay, we go through the loop. We pull this side and snug down our open loop over there, and then we can pull through here. Make sure it's not binding, and go on to the next one. Okay? So it's back thread, back loop, back loop, back thread, coming towards us. Then go through the loop, bring this up and snug it, bring this up and snug it. Make sure it's not binding. Okay. And we go on to our next one. We'll do that all the way around. And what I did, I have a pretty good sized piece, which my cat is laying on, of course. I have a pretty good sized piece tail over here. And if this doesn't reach all the way around, I'll go back and reach it, connect it that way. But usually I'll try to do double and a half when I'm sewing it. That usually gives me enough. Whoop, wrong one. There we go. Okay. Back thread, back loop. Back thread, back loop, back thread. Get over there. There we go. Go across to the loop. Snug down that loop. And then snug down your thread. Make sure it's not binding and go on to the next one. Okay, I'm going to meet you around at the end. Okay, I did indeed run out before I got to the very end on this side, so I gave it a knot, ran it through and back with a sharp needle so it's locked in there. Now I have 4 stitches left. I'm going to go through this way, the 2 back stitches, 2 back stitches, go through here, tighten it, make sure it's not binding. This is the knot stitch. Here's the back loop and the loop beneath it. There we go. Okay, these 2 go together, and these 2 go together, through the back loop, across, through the back loop, and the one below it, come on. I don't need the tail in there. Okay. Go through the back loop. Snug it. Snug it. Make sure it's not binding. Up through this one. Uh-oh, leave my loop. Leave my loop. Okay. Whoops. Back through there. That's the wrong side. Okay. Okay, now you want to make sure that the last stitch on this side and the last stitch on this side are connected, so you'll have no gaps showing on outside. I did all this and I was off camera as usual. So you want both of these sides tightly connected here so there's no gap. No gap. So on the inside, you want to go from the last stitch here to the last stitch here. You just want to cross over. See, I've already knotted it. I'm going to cross over. And you want to go over it a couple times. You don't need to go more than that because you're going to take this tail you're going to cross your ends over nice and even. So you want to lay your hat out. Make sure that the sides are straight. And it's got a nice cross along the back. You don't want it bowing out. I want you. There we go. Okay. Got a good angle on it. You got a good shape on it. Then you're going to hold it. You're going to turn it right side out. So I'm going to put this on the outside. Like that. Okay. Now, I'm going to tack this so it stays put while I connect it. Let's see here. How about you? There we go. Cross it over, tack it, and then you're going to, where's my needle? And you're going to come up under here, up under your edging, You're going to go down, back, under your edging. Make sure you get the threads underneath. See? Yeah, back up. Come up here, go under your edging. Back under here. You got it good and tacked down. Sneak it back under there and through to the other side. And you can't even see out here where it's been tacked. Looks perfect. There. Now I put it on my sharp needle and tie the ends in just like I did everywhere else. Going through the threads, turning around, coming back, wiggling it so that it ties into itself, and then cutting it off. Now this is all stuff I did extra that didn't have to be done. And if I don't want it to look weird and have loose ends coming, I got to do the same thing to this, which I will do later. So here's your Scoodie. It crosses over and back like that. Goes around your neck. Now, because of the way it's made, it's going to be low on the back of your neck and come around here under your chin. We can cross it higher over your chin. Keep nice and warm. Okay? I really like the way that looks. What do you think? Now you can take any style, plain or fancy, of a disc. Any pattern, style, color, thickness that you want a scarf. I usually use the crown color for my edging, but you don't have to. You can make it all the same color. Just enjoy it. Take your favorite scarf pattern and make a circle to match it and put it together as a Scoodie. Okay? Enjoy yourself. Adapt it to what you like. And happy hooking, guys.